Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to go over another quick and easy crochet tutorial. That's the way we like to do things around here. We like to learn fast, quick, easy stitches so you can get back to doing what you love, and that is crochet. So today we are going to do a one row repeat, which is called the crunch stitch. So as you can see here, it's a nice textured stitch. Slightly stretchy, not too stretchy, but the feel of this stitch is nice, light and airy. It is reversible, so same on both sides. So I am very curious how, because of this airiness, how it would look in a blanket or a scarf, because it's, if you feel it and depending upon what yarn you use, it is so squish and soft. So I would definitely use this for maybe a baby blanket or a nice warm winter scarf, or a throw. So you have options. And again, it's only a one row repeat, so you can zip through it fast if you're using a larger hook. So what you'll need to know for this stitch tutorial is the slip stitch and the half double crochet, all of which I will go over if you do need a refresher in that. I am going to be using what am I using here? A 5.5 millimeter. Let me get my hook here. Dots hook. I'm going to be using this is a peach color in a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. And you'll need scissors to cut once you're done with your swatch, and your darning needle so that you can weave in all your ends. So grab all your supplies so you can crochet with me and learn this stitch. Come on back and we'll get started. All right, to get started, what you'll need to do is do a foundation chain of 2 stitches plus 1. So I've already chained up 16 stitches plus 1, so I have 17 chain stitches here, okay? So I will put a playlist in this video so that if you need a review on anything, it will be readily available for you. So that won't be an issue. So now that you got that done, you chained up your stitches. The first order of business is for row 1 is you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain from your hook, okay? So this loop here does not count. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 3 stitches, and that's 3 stitches away from your hook, okay? So now that you've established that, what you're going to do is go in and slip stitch into that chain stitch. So you're going to put your hook in, yarn over, pull through. You should have 2 loops on your hook, okay? So once you have those 2 loops, don't do anything else but take your hook and just slip it through that loop. That's how you do a slip stitch, okay? So that's your first thing that you need to do. So once you've established that, here is the repeat. You're going to half double crochet into your next stitch. So yarn over, half double crochet, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay? That's how you half double crochet. Just adjust the light, make sure you guys can see me. Okay? Then the next step is you need to slip stitch into the next stitch. So yarn over, pull through, and just like the first stitch there, you're just going to pull through that loop. And that's the repeat. It's just that easy. So you're going to half double. Okay. Grab some more yarn. And then you're going to slip stitch into your next. And slip. Okay. So you're going to do that half double, slip stitch, repeat up until your last stitch. Okay. So your last stitch should always be a slip stitch. So if you're at a half double on your last stitch, you've done something incorrectly, you're going to need to start over. But that's all you do. So you're going to yarn over, half double, next stitch is a slip, and slip. Yarn over, half double, and next is a slip. Okay, so I'm going to do that until I get to my last stitch. I'll come back and just show you what you're going to do on your last stitch. Okay, so I'm on my last stitch. So all I'm going to do, like I said before, every last stitch has got to be a slip stitch. So you're going to just put your hook in, yarn over, pull through, and just take your hook and just pull through or slip through that loop. So now you have completed your first row, okay? So to get to your second row, you're just going to chain 2 and turn your work, okay? All right, so now that you've turned your work, that chain 2 counts as a half double crochet, all right? So that's something to remember. So turn over so you can see exactly what you're doing. So you're going to skip that first stitch. So you're going to skip this first stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the second stitch, okay? And slip, okay? Now, what you need to do after that, and this is the repeat, pardon me, that's slip stitch into that stitch that we just did. So the repeat is slip stitch. So basically all you're doing is opposite of each stitch. So slip, half, slip, half, slip, half, okay? So now, and a little tip, if you ever get lost, you see how you have that bump here and the bump is pointing to the stitch? And whatever stitch that's pointing to, that's going to be where you're going to half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over half, okay? Your next is a slip. So right underneath, make sure it's right underneath both legs of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and slip, okay? Bump is pointing towards that stitch, and you'll see it more as you're working with your yarn. But yarn over, and you're going to half double, okay? And it's just that simple. You're going to slip on this stitch, oops, slip on that stitch, and you see where you have that bump. Maybe I can show you better there. See how that bump is pointing towards a stitch? You're going to half double, okay? So do that up until you get to your last stitch. That's the repeat for your second row, and I'll meet you at the last stitch. All right, guys, so I'm coming toward the end of my row. So I have 2 stitches to go here. So I'm going to half double into this stitch here. Okay. And now you may have to turn or do whatever you need to do so that you can see that last stitch. Don't skip that, or you're going to have an uneven type of swatch. It's just going to go into like a triangular shape. So don't skip that last stitch, okay? So you're always going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space, okay? So you're going to turn over. Make sure you get both legs there. And maybe a little fiddly, but make sure you get in there. Okay, see I'm in. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, and slip stitch. Okay, and you are good to go. So you're going to be nice and even. Very important not to skip that. Okay, so you're going to chain 2 again. 1 and 2, and turn your work. And that's the repeat. So you're going to repeat that last row we just did over and over and over and over again until you reach the height that you desire, okay? Just remember that this first chain 2 stitch here counts as a half double crochet. You're going to skip your first stitch here and go right in with a slip stitch on the next stitch. Okay, slip. You see your bump there, it's really more pronounced there, and the bump leads you to your next stitch, and that next stitch is always a half double crochet. As long as you remember that, you're not going to get lost in this simple pattern at all. See the bump pointing toward the stitch right there? That's going to be a half double. Okay? Follow that along and you'll be good to go. Just make sure at the end you're always doing a slip stitch into that chain 2 space. You remember those 2 key points and you are golden. So let me, as always, I like to show you what it looks like just for a point of reference. So this is what you're going to look like at the end. Again, it's reversible on both sides. So that is your finished project. This is a very small swatch, but again, go into your heart's desire, practice, 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 and clip and weave in your ends. Easy peasy. So that's how you do the crunch stitch. Let me know in the comments what you're going to make with this particular stitch. I love to know. The feedback is great. And consider liking the video. That helps get the video out into the algorithm so others can learn the stitch as well. And if you like this kind of step-by-step tutorials, consider subscribing so that you will be notified, and hit that bell so that you'll be notified when my next stitch tutorial or whatever I'm yapping about comes up next. So happy crocheting, be well folks, and I'll see you on the next video.